a rabbi who has worked with the FA for over a decade has resigned in protest of their refusal to light up the Wembley arch in the colours of the Israeli flag. Rabbi Alex Goldberg, the University of Surrey's Dean of Religious Life and Belief and campus rabbi, sent a letter to Mark Bullingham, the CEO of the FA, expressing his disappointment. In the letter, Rabbi Goldberg said, "Tonight, I want to formally break the link between our advisory group and the Football Association. In doing so, I feel I can better express my profound disappointment in the FA's decision not to have a specific tribute during the upcoming matches against Australia and Italy at Wembley Stadium to the victims of the worst single atrocity committed against Jewish targets since the Shoah." This comes especially in the light of the global solidarity shown in response to the tragic murder of 1,000 civilians in Israel, encompassing all ages and walks of life, including 17 British citizens that saw Downing Street, the Eiffel Tower and the Empire State Building lit up in white and blue. Well, I'm privileged to say that Rabbi Goldberg joins us now. And Rabbi, welcome to Mark Dolan tonight. Why do you think the FA have failed to carry out this gesture?
Thank you, Mark. I'm not sure why the FA have failed to carry out this gesture. I think that they have lost the idea of morality, really. They're trying to make moral equivalence. Let me be very clear that this tragedy, the atrocious nature, you just read out my statement, of last Saturday's actions, what happened a week ago, was a premeditated, planned action against men, women, children and babies. And then several years ago, Mark, I brought in an interfaith group, an intercultural group. That's what I work in. I bring together communities, both in the UK and in the Middle East. I am very involved in Israeli, Palestinian, Egyptian, Jordanian, Lebanese dialogue as well. I don't usually make statements like this, but the tragedy was so enormous that I thought we had to mark it. And I brought an interfaith group a number of years ago after the massacres in Paris, where I think you'll recall the arch was lit up in the tricolour, and the crowd sang the Marseillaise. Israel is an ally of the United Kingdom. This is an attack on its civilians, which has led directly to the conflict and the pictures we're seeing today of war. And as von Clausewitz says, all war is hell, and hell is happening now in the Middle East. I pray as a rabbi who has friends in Lebanon, in the Palestinian areas, in Israel, Jordan, whatever, this just stops. And this madness stops, but in some way, and that we can curtail the violence. But I thought that a specific tribute needed to be made to those victims. Mark, I'm a university chaplain, as you pointed out, and I've spoken to 40 to 50 students and staff this week. One of them told me, the first call I got was from a student who lost his best friend on Saturday. He told me 2 days later that he found out his younger brother had lost another friend. Some of the names are coming out slowly. The next student I spoke to has been attacked twice in Guildford. She's training to be a midwife in the NHS and has she's a single mum with a 5-year-old autistic child. She has a mezuzah on her door, the stick that Jews have on their door. A gang surrounded her door, trying to smash it in or knock on it or make loud noises. Eventually threw a rotten chicken through her window with sauce. They came back 2 days later. Her autistic child is living in fear as anti-Semitic attacks on our people go up threefold. I then met people in our community who spent time on kibbutz be'eri in their life and have lost many, many friends. Coming on air tonight, another friend, again, somebody like me who is very well known in interfaith, has just found out her friend survived the attack on that kibbutz, but most of her friends have passed away. For them, and so I could look them in the face last night when I did Friday night dinner, I had to make a stand. That's why, Mark.
And you've made quite a sacrifice because you've been with the FA for 10 years now, and I'm sure that you did it with a heavy heart. Now, we've reached out to the FA for comment. They have yet to respond. Yes. They have acknowledged the tragedy. The players wore armbands for that England-Australia game, and a minute's silence was observed. Are you persuaded by the idea that the Football Association simply didn't want to take sides? Does that wash with you?
It's not about taking sides. This is a question of humanity. Hamas targeted people in that area. That included Bedouin Arab Muslims. It included many Jews. Obviously, the vast majority of victims were. It included international community and who were raving, who were partying in a secular way on a Jewish festival. They were just young people. And this was planned. There's more and more coming out about this, and more and more verified documents, and I believe in verified news, that the Hamas, they are terrorists. The Hamas terrorists were captured with maps looking to seize schools and youth clubs, potentially to kidnap, potentially to kill. What sort of person does this? This is an atrocious act, and it's this act that I wanted to be marked in a significant way. Any statement put out, there are good statements out this week, Mark. There are statements out this week that say that they condemn this atrocious act and they single it out, and they have concerns about the loss of life, Palestinian loss of life, Jewish loss of life, and that is occurring in this conflict right now that's resulted directly from Hamas's actions. I'm not a politician. I'm not a spokesman of the Israeli government, and it'd be very odd if I was. That's not my usual place. But I am a rabbi, and I feel that I need to speak up for my community because many feel they are unable. There are many Jewish people working in the FA who feel unable to speak up, and I need to give them a voice.
Rabbi, the clock is against us. Rabbi Goldberg, the clock is against us, but there has been widespread disappointment about the world of football, how they've responded to this. We had the Premier League tweeting a statement about an escalating crisis, but no focus on a terror attack on innocent civilians. The BBC aren't using the word terrorist, but the King is, and so is the Prince of Wales and the Duke of Sussex. So it's good enough for the King, but not good enough for the national broadcaster. And now the FA will not shine the colours of the Israeli flag onto the famous Wembley arch. Briefly, if you can, what kind of message does that send to the Jewish people living in this country who are facing an escalation of abuse and Jewish people around the world?
I think the message it sends is that they don't care. They don't care. On Thursday, on the day they made the decision, they also wrote to me to say they wanted to downsize the Hanukkah party. I mean, I don't care why, but timing is everything, isn't it, Mark? We need to care, and we need to make a moral stance, and that's what I'm doing. And of course, I will make a moral stance next week or the week after. If there are other tragedies around the world. I believe in humanitarian law, I believe in human rights, and I believe in peace in the Middle East. But right now, I wanted a statement to be made. And tomorrow, I will rebuild relations between communities and hope that we will achieve peace both here and the Middle East. But we need for the Jewish community to be rest assured that they are safe and all that. Can I finish, Mark, with just one story? I mean, I was sitting outside a kosher supermarket in northwest London. Heavily armed police for their not our protection, their protection. 2 8-year-old women had their bags searched as they went into their local supermarket, and then they turned around to me and apologized for delaying them. That's Britain in 2023. We need to give reassurance to our Jewish community, and we need to give reassurance to those who have lost people in this atrocity last weekend. Most people I know either know somebody or know somebody that knows somebody. There are most British Jews have family in Israel, children, cousins, nephews, aunts. There are 50,000 British passport holders living in Israel today. There are 300,000 Jews living in Britain. You can do the maths. This is not about politics. This is about ties of kinship, and I think we need reassurance.
Rabbi Alex Goldberg, thank you so much for your time and all of our wishes at this awful moment for Jewish people in the UK and around the world.